Hi, my name is Chapin, and I want to talk to you briefly about some things that might help you in the spelling challenge category of the English in Action competition. First, I want to give you some background about spelling bees and why we want to organize one in Croatia, and then I want to give you some strategies that might help you perform well in your first spelling bee. The concept of spelling bees is thought to come from the United States, where these competitions may have been organized as early as the late 18th century. Now, don't be confused by the word bee. In this context, it doesn't refer to a buzzing insect. Instead, it's an Old English word that refers to a gathering of people who come together to perform some activity. English spelling bees are performed in several countries around the world, but this is the first time that one will be performed at the national level in Croatia. Participating in spelling bees will expose you to so many new words. You will not only expand your vocabulary, but you will also start to notice patterns in English words, in how they're spelled, how they're pronounced, where they come from, what they mean. You will not only deepen your appreciation and understanding of the English language, but hopefully you'll become more confident using it. Now that we've seen some background about spelling bees, what are some of the tips that I would recommend to you when you compete in yours, your first one? My first tip would be to repeat the word before you spell it. Repeat it as many times as you need. Repeating the word allows the pronouncer to check whether you've heard it correctly, and it can also calm you when you're nervous. My second tip would be to visualize the word as you spell it. Make a mental image of it. This mental image can help ensure that if you pause your spelling and restart, which you're allowed to do, that you will restart in the correct place without adding or skipping a letter. Remember, once you pronounce a letter, you cannot change it. So once it comes out of your mouth, it's done. How can you visualize a word? Well, one thing you can do if you want is to close your eyes. Feel free to do that if you need to. Another thing you can do is use your hand as a notebook. Take your finger and write the word before and as you spell it. Something else you can do is to look above the audience, above their heads, all the way far back, and visualize the word in the air, above the audience's heads, or on the wall behind them. Do whatever you need to do to see that word as you spell it. My next advice would be to spell slowly. Resist the temptation to spell fast. Spelling fast will make you nervous and cause you to make mistakes. Imagine how disappointed you will be if you know the correct spelling of the word and you make a silly mistake because you're going too fast. Slow down and focus on your mental image of that word. My next advice is something very particular to Croatian speakers, and that is to not confuse I and E. Remember the rule I, E. My next advice would be to ask for information if you're in any doubt about a word. Watch the simulated spelling bee that we performed on the show Good Morning Croatia. Notice how important it was for the student to ask for more information in order to know whether the pronouncer wanted her to spell desert or dessert. You know that English is not a phonetic language, so it can be quite difficult or impossible to know how to spell a word just from how it's pronounced. Imagine, without more information, how would you know whether I wanted you to spell bear or bear? Read or read? Remember, you can ask the pronouncer to repeat a word. You can ask for translation into Croatian. You can ask for the etymology or origin of the word. You can ask for the part of speech. Is it a noun? Is it an adverb? Is it an adjective? And you can ask the pronouncer to use the word in a sentence. You can ask for any and all of these pieces of information for every single word you get. So don't hesitate to do so. My next piece of advice would be to spell each letter individually. For example, if the word is belly, don't spell it B-E-L-L-Y. Instead, spell it B-E-L-L-Y. We've heard from some teachers that in Croatia, it's not uncommon for you, for students, to learn to spell double L, double O, and so on. But for this competition, we want you to spell each letter individually. The only time you should say double is when it's the letter W. Another piece of advice, say the word after you have finished it. Actually, this isn't advice, it's a requirement. You must repeat the word when you're done finishing so the judges know that you're finished. Lastly, look for new words to spell wherever you can. The official source of words in this competition will be this dictionary for the elementary schools, basic schools, and this dictionary for high schools. However, if during the competition we see that the words are a little too easy, we will draw them from other sources. So look for words to practice from as many different sources as you can. Thanks for listening, and we wish you the best of luck.